people? I had a friend of mine recently talking about how he wished he had memorized the scales and memorized the chords better. And I had mentioned to him that once you learn music theory, all those chords that you memorize and all those scales that you memorize are useless. You no longer need them. That great big chord chart on the wall that you spent months memorizing all the different chords is trash as of that point in time. Um, so why don't you just skip ahead? Why bother with all that? Why not just learn the theory? Learn why things work instead of memorizing chords, and then later on, if you're lucky, learning some theory and learning why it works and going, ah, fuck, why the hell did I bother spending all those months learning all those chords when I could have just learned this instead, and it would have been so much easier. So here's my attempt at making it a little bit easier. Um, we'll go over some basics. Just and this stuff will help out a lot for any of you that do play music. Whether you sing, whether you play piano, whether you play guitar, whether you play whatever. One thing you will notice, one thing you'll notice is take a major scale. We all know it, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You'll notice that if you continue that scale up, you'll notice that inside that scale are all other scales. Um, you'll notice that in the G major there's also a C minor scale is inside the G major scale. It just starts on a different note instead. The G major scale starts on a G. The C minor will start on a C. And you'll notice that all other scales are inside all other scales. They're completely interchangeable. You'll notice that an A major is in a C minor, and a C minor is in a G major, and so forth, and so on, and so on, and so on. The only difference is what note they start on, and that's one thing that they really don't teach you. It's one thing that you kind of clicks in your head once you understand it, if you understand it. So you don't really need to memorize different scales. Once everybody knows do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's all you need to know right there, because inside that is all other scales. Um, that being said, chords. Instead of memorizing chords, you can just learn how chords work. A chord is a root, a third, and a fifth. Your root is whatever note you start on. Whatever, if you're trying to play a G major, then your root is going to be G. It's going to be do. And the rest is just really basic, simple math that a fucking 5-year-old can do. So let's make a G major. So we've got do, and then you just go up 3. That's your third, 3, and then up 5. And then 5 for your fifth. So there's our third, there's our fifth. And you can continue that up in octaves to make it sound fuller if you want. So there's our octave, and then we just keep going up the scale. See, there's 3. There's 5. So now we've got our root, our root, our third, our third, our fifth, our fifth. So to make it more sound, and you can play it in any framing you want. Say you wanted to play it an octave higher with wanted the root to be an octave higher. So instead of your G starting down there, it'll start down there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 3, 5. And like I said, you want to add some octaves to it to make it sound more fuller. You'll notice that they're just octaves. The other notes in that chord are just octaves of the root, the third and the fifth. That's all they're all. Do, re, mi, fa, so. That's all. Those. There's only 3 notes in that whole. 3 notes: the root, the third, and the fifth. They're just octaves of the same note. That's just the same note repeated over and over and over again. The difference between a major and a minor is that the third is dropped down 1 fret, 1 step. So if we wanted to do a minor instead of a major, we've got. That's our third. So our third would just be moved down 1. So now we've got. And it works the exact same way. If you want to make a G minor, you would just. Again, to make it sound more fuller, you just repeat the same notes over. But that's the only difference between a major and a minor. And you can keep going with that even. Like if you wanted to make it a fifth instead of a minor or a major, you would just move the third down another step. So if let me try and get my hand here where you can see it. If that right there is our third, we move it down 1 to make it a minor. And if we want to make it a fifth, we just move it down again. And you can just keep moving it down, and it'll be a 7th and a 9th and a more and more and more. I'm really hoping that kind of covers it. I'm not the best on earth, but I understand how it works, and I'm great at understanding how things work. I'm just not great at explaining them. The nice thing about that, like if as a musician you have to be able to blend music. The nice thing about that is once you catch on to that, once you catch on to theory, roots and thirds and fifths, you can identify things and say, okay, that's in the key of, A minor, and if the bass is going over an A minor, or the rhythm is going over it, or even the drum, most people don't get it through their head that drums have notes too. Even if the drum beat, the notes on the drum are in A minor, you can play on your guitar or sing whatever words you want in any note in the key of A minor, and it will sound good with it. Like. There's our A minor. Another thing that's really great for practice for guitarists or violinists or anybody else is bending notes like I did. And one good thing to practice is to just pick a note, you know, E. Just pick the E and say to yourself, okay, where can I bend to, and how far do I have to bend in order to get that, you know, and then just practice it. Just there's a half step bend and a full step bend. There's our E. Half step bend, full step bend, you know, and that'll get you in the in the habit of bending, you know. Also, one thing, you know, and I've gone over this 1,000 times with 1,000 different people, is how to hold the guitar, or hold your violin, or hold your viola, or whatever. You know, you don't want to hold it like this. You don't want it to actually be in your hand. You know, like if you can tell, I can let go and the guitar just naturally sits right there. I don't have to hold it, you know. And what you want to do is put the pad of your thumb on the back of the neck, just like that, and just wrap it around just like that. That'll give you a lot more mobility where you can slide. It'll give you more reach for your fingers, where you can reach all over, and it'll give you a bigger hand span, like so you can go clear up many frets, you know, without a problem. But I hope that helps. You know, like I said, all chords are a root, a third, and a fifth. All of them. You know, they're your do, your mi, and your fa. That's all chords right there. The do, the mi, and the fa are just repeated over and over again to make it sound more full. They're all exactly the same notes. All that just from 3 notes: your do, your mi, and your fa. And remember, if you want to make it a minor, you just drop the third 1 fret down, and then for a fifth, you know, like I said, you drop it one more, and on and on and on. And remember, like I said, if somebody's playing in the key of G major, you can play anything in that to go with it and accompany it, anything in the key of G major, or sing any note in the key of G major, and they will sound good together naturally. I don't know, hopefully that helps. I'm like I said, I'm not the best in the world or anything else. I just understand how it works, and sometimes communicating that is a little bit difficult. That's why I went over it multiple times in this video. I don't know. Enjoy, and if you have any input, feel free to comment with it. Knock yourselves out, guys. Have fun.